Hello.
What's up, Brock?
What's up, Mike? What's up, Alejandro?
Hey,
What's
Brock.
up, Bone?
Hey, Mike.
16 guests. Note takers. Okay.
Sorry,
All right.
My audio's being weird. I'm gonna jump back in a second.
Sounds good. Let me just pull my stuff up. Okay. Thanks for your patience, man. I know you're busy.
You're
You're just doing your own job.
You're good. Just doing stuff in
Exactly.
the background.
We talked about
Can you guys hear me okay?
loud and clear.
For whatever reason.
That's all right. So, what we're going to talk about here today, and you can always stay if you like the topic, leave if you don't like the topic. That's totally cool. Sorry, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Well,
I
it's
can
you.
hear you.
It's a you problem, Alejandro. That's a you problem, bro. I'm going to mute you too. But all right. So last time we chatted, it was 2 days ago, and we were talking about the different meetings you want to have in the week. So you want to have a Monday mashup on Mondays that is specifically to shake off the weekend, get everybody realizing what the values are, what the scorecard looks like, so that they're driven for the week. You obviously want to make sure that you have a pipeline review, where we are figuring out what is the current blocker to each one of your deals, what is the current way to reduce the friction to make that blocker go away, or increase the incentive to make that blocker go away. Documenting in your CRM what those changes are, so that when you need to forecast or answer that random question from your boss, like what's happening with the Acme deal, you have an answer and you have a solid forecast. So those are the two critical ones, the Monday mashup and the pipeline review. So what I want to talk about today is the 101, the executive 101, and the monthly business review. I'm assuming you guys have watched content that I've talked about with 101 stuff in particular, 10, 10, 10, all that stuff. So I think I'm just going to I feel like that I've just drilled that into the ground. So if you're like, no, tell me more, I'll go more in there. But what I want to talk about here is the monthly business review. Asnis, thank you for the lead.
Yeah, brother. Hopefully that works out. He's traveling, so I don't know whether you'll connect with him right away.
Yeah, I'm traveling too, man. So we'll figure it out. But thank you. All right. So what I'm talking about right now is the monthly business review. So I got a little bit of a story as well here, but no, I'm good. Thank you. It wasn't for me. I'm with a company right now where someone had brought up the idea that we've had a ton of great ideas, but all of them have fallen short of exactly where we want them to be. And the primary reason that she cited was executive structure. And when I grilled her on it, I was like, are you basically saying, because what we did do is when we installed L10s, I was like, oh, this will create alignment. But the problem is it's throughout the organization, there's not a standard set of structures that we require all executives to do. And so we have a lot of alignment right here, and then all of it goes away. So what we're talking about here is one person to create the strategy vision of the company. Now, in your world, this is your strategy vision for your team. The next thing that we're talking about is basically a monthly business review. Every month, you must look at these numbers, give me your analysis, and give me your future, what you're going to do to fix it or make it better. And then we have L10s weekly to track towards the things we just talked about last month or this quarter. With those structures, if done within the company, all the way from the top down to the bottom, then everything is super nice and organized. We're all using the same Lego blocks. It's not as though I use Legos and you use Diplos. It's we're all using the same shit. What is happening? My phone is ringing, but whatever. So I say all that to just tee up the importance of the monthly business review, and how if you manage managers, or you have people that want to be team leaders, or you want to make people to become team leaders, the monthly business review is a great thing to have them do as let's see if you can lead the team. If you lead leaders, you should be requiring this from your leaders, and your boss is expecting this of you, whether they know they're expecting it to be called a monthly business review or otherwise. Okay. So every month, what you want to do is you want to report back to your boss on 4 things: profit, pipeline, performance, and people. Profit is how much revenue did we close, and how much should we have closed? How's that changing over time? Where is it coming from? Big deals, small deals, product A, product B, region A, region B, reps A, reps B. Pipeline, how many leads did we generate over time? Where are they coming from? this lead source, that lead source, these groups of reps, those groups of reps, dials versus emails. Performance is the efficiency of your team, your 100 score, your number or percent of reps at quota, win rate, deal size, overtime. Where is it concentrated? Is it these reps have a great 100 score, these reps have a worse 100 score, blah, blah, blah. And people is the people like soft part. This is their, like, how many humans do we have? If you want to get really fancy, you could do profit per human, like how much revenue they brought in, right? That's what your investors will do. And it's really fucking shitty. But if you want to do that, you can. What's the word I'm looking for? Retention, like 9-box matrix. Sorry, 9-box matrix, always in here. But then a retention thing, like who's likely to leave.
So if you're, like you work at a company where like turnover is insane because it's like all entry-level salespeople, that's probably like a big factor, right?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But if you're at a company where there's like one sales guy, it would be a casual comment in the meeting.
Yeah. Like he seems happy, but also not thrilled, or just like very kind of.
Yeah, like, it's all right. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Got it.
Whereas for another company, it's like, hey, our retention is 32%. It's going down. The top 3 reasons are X. Here's what I'm doing to solve retention issues. Okay. So those are the things that you want to report on. Above all of that, at the end of doing what I'm going to tell you to do is a summary. So you sort of like I had a boss tell me this on this, never forget it. And she was like, create your own narrative and then go find the answers in the numbers. And I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've absolutely done it. It's to save your job and to make yourself look good. But what I recommend is start by looking at the numbers and see how that creates your summary or your narrative. Because almost every time that I've gone through an MBR, I've gone in going like, I know where this is going to look like. And then I leave it going, wow, I had no fucking idea that like this region was doing so poorly, or this rep was doing so poorly. I thought conversion rate was going up, or like, I didn't think that there was a problem with vibe and the culture, but wow, there really is. So don't try not to go in with any bias. Okay. Just run the numbers. And then at the end, you're going to summarize the whole thing. In each one of these sections, the process with which I put together an MBR is I first go and grab as much data as I can. So I'm just going to go number of reps, look at all their revenue, right? And this is where over time, this took me probably originally 16 hours to do a monthly business review. I could probably do it now in like half hour. The primary difference in time is actually just in like curating your own reports. So you're going to like have data that you look at the first one, and then you're going to go, ooh, well, now looking at that data, I kind of want to look at like that data, but like with this skew. And now I suddenly want to do this. Sort of like when you start fucking around with AI, you're first just like, how make me better? And then like by like, 10 minutes later, you're like, update the app that you just created to like tell me in real time what to do to make me better. Same thing's gonna happen with the data. You're gonna be like, let's just look at revenue. And then you're gonna go, ooh, I see that over time. Ooh, I see the overtime broken down by. So you start just dumping the data in so that you can then just sit there and look at the data. If you want to use ChatGPT, you can go for it, but you should really understand. Look at the data and be like, what is it telling you? Okay. Now, what we are looking for in each of these sections and outside of the data for you to summarize is the primary framework I've talked about before. What is happening? Why is it happening? So what are you doing about it? Okay. So you should be looking at the profit pipeline performance people going, what's going on here? Things are going in the wrong direction. Cool. Why? Because we're not generating enough leads. Cool. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to run a contest for getting leads. Cool. So at the top, you're going to summarize the whole thing. Here's what we're going to do for everything. Go ahead, bro.
What do you base incentives on, like cost wise? Is it percentage of total like closed deals, or do you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, if you hit this number, we'll get you X, and then that usually costs like 1% of their total thing, or what? Do you have it something like that?
So in a typical sales organization, you're going to start with this number. You're going to want to pay your sales staff 15% of the gross profit, annual gross profit. So you use software, Brock?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So assume 100% gross profit.
Mm-hmm.
So if the sales rep brings in $1 million, I want to pay the sales rep $150,000, 15%.
Mm-hmm.
You can move that number up or down based on the lifetime value of a customer. So if you're Salesforce and you're like, dude, once you bring this customer on, our average lifetime of a customer is 20 years. Lifetime value of this customer is actually like $50 million, even though it was only 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could pay your sales team 20%, 25%, and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Your lifetime value, it's a one-time thing. Then you're like, I might want to pay only 5 or 10%.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be like, you're like, here's what I'm doing, shooting for. I can move up or down as a result of that. As for like, let's call it spot bonuses, spiffs, bonuses, in the moment things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a super hard number for this, other than because it depends on what is the item. Like, how far away is the thing I'm incentivizing from revenue? Like if I'm saying like anybody who closes a 10th deal, I'll give you, then I'll look at like whatever the commission rate is, and I'll add a few points to it.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm like, make dials, I'm going to be like, I got to think about like, well, what is the conversion
What are the
rate?
dials worth?
Yeah. What's a dial?
Or like, what is it worth for the company to increase revenue by that much? And okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really just case by case, it sounds like.
Case by case, but I think that if you're for any spot bonus, look at 10. I'll just give you a number here, which I think is not unreasonable. For a spot bonus, make it be 10% of the revenue that you think you can get from that item.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want right now, if you want to figure out the value of each item, just do revenue divided by dials, revenue divided by emails, revenue divided by calls, revenue divided by stage ones, revenue divided by stage twos, revenue divided by stage threes, right? And that'll tell you the value of every single one of those items. You could pay 1% of that. So like if the value of a dial is $1, you could be like, I'll pay you 10 cents per dial. And on top of what you're already making, it'll probably work its way out.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Thank you.
Yep. These chairs are cool. Okay.
Sorry to throw us off.
You're good. You're not throwing us off. That was great. So what, why, so what in each section. So the data first, then the what, why, so what in each section. And at the end of that, a summary of overall what is going on, why is it happening, and so what I'm going to do. Now, trick of the trade. I've talked about frameworks a fucking lot. The MBR, you might as well just call it framework, because that's what this whole thing is. You are trying, the purpose of a framework communication is to convey complex things simply. So how am I going to explain to you very simply what's going on, why it's happening, and so what I'm going to do about it as it relates to pipeline performance, people, and profit, with considering all the reports over time, reports broken down by it's crazy. So what you ultimately want to do is you want to look at all the data first, summarize the data, look at all your summaries, and then create your ultimate summary. That summary is still going to be in the what, why, so what framework. However, your story here, I'm going to recommend an analogy that is related to a movie or a story of some kind. So if you can say like, hey, long story short, where we are in Tuesday, we're basically in the last half of Remember the Titans. The team is working well together, but we still have some big things to overcome. That said, I've never been more proud of a team and more excited for a team to be able to overcome. Why that's happening is because over the last few weeks, we've been working on culture and blah, 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 blah. And so what we're going to do about this is we're just going to keep doubling down on it. Let me walk you through the details. Cool. That manager can now go to his manager or his wife or his friend or himself later in the day and understand where the sales team is at. You guys know the team, you know the game telephone? I'll say like a word and then you telephone around. Think about communicating ideas like playing telephone, but each person has to summarize it for the next person. You know what I mean? Because like I can't, as like the frontline manager, expect the VP to say to the CEO or the CEO to say to the board everything I just said. They're going to summarize it. So that's the reason why you want to summarize it. So the more you can make like an analogy, the more that they're just like, cool, I can fill in the blanks with that analogy, even if I don't remember or know all the numbers. Like if you said it's like Remember the Titans, I'd be like, okay, cool, got it. There's a good gelling happening. There's oh my god, I got fucking pink pen alerting. So that's the purpose of it. The analogy in the end. And now in each one of these things, as you're looking at the data to figure out what should we do, I'm not going to walk through the whole strategy framework right now, but that's basically, if you go to the strategy framework section, I think there's in the HQ doc. I mean, might as well. I don't know why I'm like being like this. Cool. So this is, after looking at all the numbers, this is what you should be filling in or thinking about in the why, and the so what. So you're going to go, what is happening? Leads are down. Will is down. Leads are down. Whatever. Then you want to think about why is that happening? The way you want to think about this is whenever I ask someone, why is that happening? They give me an answer. My immediate follow-up question is the same every single time, which is to say, why is that happening now? Why is that happening? So I'll be like, leads are down. Why? We're not making enough calls. Most sales leaders are like, we need to make more calls. I'm just going to go make more calls. And they said that whatever strategy they have to make more calls is just whatever was the first thing that we're not making enough calls. What are you going to do? Tell the team to make more calls. Is that going to solve the problem? I think so. It didn't work. Why? Well, it turns out the reason they weren't making calls wasn't because they didn't know they should make more calls or like they were being held accountable for making more calls. It was because they actually just sucked at making calls. And so they were just like too nervous. Oh, so really your plan should not have been tell everybody to make 100 more calls. Your plan should have been run training. Yeah, I'm going to do that this month. Cool. We're a month behind now. So whenever you think why is the thing happening, I want you to ask yourself, why is that happening? Because it's just like on a sales call, it's like the third why is what we ultimately want to get to. Okay. Now, then you want to think, what is something I can do to make that stop happening? We're not making enough calls. Why? Because the sales team is too lazy. Why are they lazy? Because I've created the culture of laziness here. What is a task you can do to make the team, the culture, not lazy? Not what is the task you can do to make us get more calls? What is a task we can do to get rid of the bottleneck that is keeping us from making more calls? Hopefully you see the difference here. Then you want to think through the risks. Now, the typical risks are these things here. So either it's a reason why it wouldn't work, meaning like I'm going to run the training. Maybe it won't work because people can't make it to the training, or I'm bad at training, or I can't fit what I need to fit inside of the training, or there's no time for that training. The reason why it might not happen in the first place, I'm too busy to run the training. The team doesn't like me or care about me, and they're not going to show up to the training. And is there other shit that's going to be negatively impacted by me doing it? If I'm running training, then I can't get my forecast in on time. Is that okay? So I'm going to review those risks to just be like, no one's going to say, like, if you can say the problem is leads, the reason the leads are down is culture, and my task to solve the culture problem is to give spot bonuses, all of that makes sense. You're like, yeah, spot bonuses should solve this problem. All that's good. So like, that's the right thing to do. But it's the reviewing of the risks to go, fuck, but you know what, man? If I did those spot bonuses, then I wouldn't have money for this other thing. You know what? That thing is important enough that I can't use spot bonuses. What else could I do? All right, I'm just going to spend my own money, and I'm not going to do money. I'm just going to give handwritten notes. Still the same kind of thing. I'm still showing recognition for people, but I'm considering the risk that I won't have money for this future thing by changing the plan from show recognition through cash to show recognition through handwritten notes. That's the difference between like, I've done a bunch of shit, but the sales team isn't working, to I've done a bunch of shit and it is working, because you're thinking about all the other risks. This is now your adapted action plan. My initial plan was sales team is not making enough calls. I'm going to run a power hour. Then I thought through the reason why they weren't making calls. It was because of nervousness, because they suck. They're not good at it. So I said, I'm going to solve that with training. Then I might look at my risks and go, I don't have time for training. So then I might adapt my plan to be like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make videos and have people send me their answers asynchronously. Cool. So now we went from videos where I get answers asynchronously, or what I was going to do, which is a power hour. So you could just see how like you have to kind of go through this thing to ultimately get to like the right answer. Otherwise, you're just going to do like the most common, whatever's the most obvious to you. Likely not the right answer. Pushback on this, or questions, or clarifications, or here's a problem I have, or.
I have to jump, Mike, but it did spark something. That we have a really good culture here. Like, people love working here. They never leave, which is nice, and it's a startup, and that kind of comes with it. One thing though is they're not authority so much, but there's just no rules. And so like and truthfully, the CEO, he doesn't really care either. Like, he's like, money's coming in, we're growing, like we're doubling, like why change anything up? And so maybe we can talk about it next time, but that's kind of what came to mind.
That's great. So run an MBR and see where that
yeah
the solution. All right, boys. I'll check you later.
Sweet.
See you later.
See ya.
Thanks, everybody.